Well, thank you. It's great to be here. Usually sunny Florida, but it was still pretty nice. I got to go play golf this morning, so it all worked out really well. Thank you again, Phil. Thanks for having me back. It was a great experience last time I got to come and talk to all of you, and I get the privilege of doing it again. So today I'm going to talk about business in the fast lane, and wanted to start with a story. Who here is a NASCAR fan? I'm not, so I'm sorry, but I had this really cool NASCAR story. I got the opportunity 5 or so years ago to go to the Daytona 500 as a guest of GoDaddy to see the race. And because I was a guest, I got to meet Danica Patrick, who I was driving for GoDaddy, so that was pretty cool. What guy wouldn't want to get the opportunity to meet Danica Patrick and get to see all these cars, even though I'm not a car guy. But getting to be there, being there for the practice race stuff and pre-race things, I got to get down in the pits. I got to go see their garage and things where they're working on the car and they're preparing. And I got to see this team from her as the driver to her crew chief to all of those in the pit crew and all this other staff that went along with it, working together, preparing that car for a race to perform at peak performance in that race, getting to see them and how they all knew their role, how they collaborated, how they shared knowledge, how they worked effectively and efficiently with each other. And this was all just prepping to get things ready, knowing their game plan, knowing their strategy, understanding what they were going to do, where they thought things were going to be, and how their approach was going to be to that race. And then during the race, when you've got these cars going around this track at over 200 miles an hour, all this stuff was happening in this real-time way. Danica Patrick's in the car monitoring all her gauges, telling her what's going on with the vehicle as she's driving. And she's got her crew that she's communicating with over the radio. They're monitoring the performance of the car. They're monitoring her health, looking at the overall race and trying to determine what they need to do in order to make sure this car performs at peak levels and is able to, hopefully, win the race. And they're doing all this in real time at 200 plus miles per hour. And that was really impressive. And thinking about it as they're going around like that, any mistake, any small mistake that they make could cause a crash. She could die. Other drivers in the field could die as a result of this. And then when the car came in for a stop into the pit, they knew exactly what it needed. They knew how much fuel it needed. They knew if it needed new tires, whatever else they needed to do to the car. Again, all in real time as they were managing this race. At the end, she didn't win. She came in 8th, but it was still pretty cool to get to have met her, seen the car, see all the experience of that. Again, I'm still not a NASCAR fan, but if I got that experience to go back again, I guess I would go do it. But what really got to me was, wow, if this race car team can do all this in such a real-time way, preparing everything to perform at this pace, they were collaborating with each other. They had all sorts of data and knew what they wanted to do with this data. They were using it to make decisions on the fly to best manage their business, which was the literal life in the fast lane or business in the fast lane. Why can't our organizations collaborate the same way? Why can't we have data and understand things in real time? Why can't we make our environments as efficient and effective as what that pit crew did with that vehicle there, that NASCAR car, to perform that way? And I think that's an opportunity for all of us and our organizations, is to be able to function as effectively and efficiently as a NASCAR race team, to literally operate our businesses in the fast lane. So that's pretty cool. Great, Ken, you got to meet Danica and all that. That was fun. But why does this really matter for our? I mean, it's great to say we want to go fast, but do we need to? Well, we do. Isaac and Glenn just talked a little bit about this digital transformation thing. I'm willing to bet that probably every one of us in here in our organizations is doing something we call digital transformation, or we're thinking about doing it. And there's a Forbes study that had results that came out a couple of years ago that said 84% of companies that have tried something called digital transformation have failed. And they failed because they weren't able to go it fast enough to meet the needs of their organization. In addition, we've got all this disruptive technology, many of the things that Glenn and Isaac were just talking about, that is creating new opportunities for our business. It's changing the way we operate. It's lowering barriers to entry, creating new competition. Isaac mentioned Amazon, so it's starting to impact everybody, no matter what business we're in. It's enabling us to go faster, new business models, new operating models. It really is life in the fast lane, or business in the fast lane, this disruptive technology. And I think it's an opportunity for us to figure out and get on board with so that we don't get disrupted ourselves. But the real opportunity is for us to go fast. And I think IT leaders are under extreme pressures than we ever were before, with increasing demands from our organizations. I think the pace of change is faster than ever, and time is of the essence for IT leaders to take a stand and demonstrate how technology can change the course of an organization's success or failure. I think our organizations have extremely complex environments. I think our business is expecting us to be able to respond to the rapidly evolving business needs and to be able to pivot when the business pivots. And that's hard for us as CIOs and IT leaders to think about what we want to do. But this is an opportunity for us to create a real-time, know-it-all Agile enterprise that can stand out above our competition and get through the crowd of all those gray umbrellas and really be a beacon for what we are trying to do as an organization. And just like with Danica Patrick and her race team, be able to be successful. She may not have won every time, actually did win very often, but got to perform at a high level. And the things that her team did is what our organizations are able to do. And we can be that nice, colorful umbrella standing out ahead of the competition as we move forward our organization. That's what I believe is the real opportunity. So I said we need to create a real-time, know-it-all Agile enterprise. That's what we've got to do, but the question is how? How do we go down the road and start figuring out what it is we need to do that? What do we need to do to be as efficient as a NASCAR race team? How do we do that inside our organizations, regardless of what industry we're in? Well, first I think we need to understand what the definition is of a real-time, know-it-all Agile enterprise. And I refer to it as an enterprise that captures the invisible, predicts the unknowable, digitizes the physical world, and creates innovation partnerships. It's an enterprise freed from the old guard's barriers, vulnerabilities, and intermediaries, empowering a new world of ingenuity, inclusion, and velocity. A lot of fancy words there and definition, but it's about understanding our business. It's about being data-driven. It's about just because we did things this way to get here isn't how we're going to do things to go forward. It's about digitizing our business. Again, Glenn and Isaac had a slide on that one. It's about being able to do things fast. It's about being able to experiment and move our organizations quickly forward. It's about creating innovation partnerships. If you think about the digital ecosystem or the ecosystem we are all operating in, the opportunity to digitize that is very valuable, and it's an opportunity there to create those innovation partnerships. If we're real-time, know-it-all Agile enterprises, we'd be moving faster than our competition. We'd have insights that we can turn on a dime related to revenue generation and profit margins and how we create things internally and externally and really be smart about what we're doing. Some people also refer to this as creating the intelligent enterprise. So this is what I want to do, and I'll give you some tips and tricks and ideas about the what and why and how we should focus on creating this for our organizations. And I think a lot of it's going to play into all the rest of the things we're going to hear about over these 2 days. So it's hopefully it all ties it together. So I believe there are 3 ingredients for creating that real-time, know-it-all Agile enterprise. And the first is we have to leverage technology. We need to take advantage of the technology that exists and the things that are coming out there. We've got to leverage technology to drive these organizations, to create that real-time, know-it-all Agile enterprise. We need a methodology. We need a way to figure out what's the right strategy for us as an organization, a way to change the culture. a way that we can move things forward for our organizations. And the methodology I found that's been proven very successful for organizations is leveraging something called design thinking. And third, we need great change leadership. Because as I said, what got us here is not what's going to get us there, where we need to go, which means we're going to be dealing with a lot of change, and change leadership has to be part of the culture, and you've got to be really good at it in order to be successful if you want to create that super intelligent enterprise. So what do I mean by all those? Let's dive deeper into those. Leveraging technology. First is data. If we're going to be a data-driven organization, if we're going to be really smart about what we're doing, we need good data. We need to trust our data. We need to have confidence in that data, which means we've got to create data management techniques different than what we did before. We've got to be able to make the data move faster, but again, with confidence and quality. So what we did before isn't going to work. We need to look at it differently. The biggest mistake I see people here doing is they try to treat all data the same. It's not. All data is not created equal. You need to understand the value of your data. You need to understand its importance to your organization so that you can treat it appropriately and put the right measures and techniques to it in order to help it be part of your strategy. We need to use smart machines. And when I say smart machines, that's the way we automate, the way we integrate man and machine, allowing the machines to do the things they're really good at so our people can do the things they're really great at. Too much today, just like Isaac's spreadsheet up there, we get bogged down in the processes of managing so much data and operational things that we need to start moving things and letting technology take care of them so that we can be really intelligent and use our people's skills to drive decision making in the organization. So this means AI and machine learning and cognitive automation, robotic process automation, and conversational platforms and natural language processing. I mean, who really wants to type at a keyboard anymore when we can just speak to our devices and ask questions and execute transactions and do different things like that? Glenn's slide had they said the PC or client server and went to then innovation's dead. Then it said mobile to innovation's dead. I think the next part of that, the next wave of innovation is natural language processing and conversational platforms. That's the next wave. I mean, who has an Alexa or Google Home or Siri at home that they're all using? Yeah, we all do. It's really funny at home with my kids. We have to, if we need to say the word Alexa, we didn't mean to engage our Amazon Alexa, we spell it. And my daughter's going, I need to talk to Alexa. So it's kind of funny how we become beholden to this technology, but it's there at our home. Why isn't it in our organization? And that's the second part of leveraging technology. And third is another AI, but this one I'm going to call added intelligence. We need to leverage what's out there to take it. It's not about who creates the technology. It's about who uses it best and faster and better than their competition. It's about connecting the digital ecosystem, that ecosystem you operate, connecting the suppliers that you do business with, your partners, your customers, the suppliers of the suppliers. More knowledge for you to make decisions and operate your business. So I refer to that as connecting that digital ecosystem. That's where we start to create those innovation partnerships. And the last part of leveraging technology is we have to digitize the physical world. It's IoT. We need to create the connected products and processes in everything that we do and partners for this new world. And those things together are going to be critically important for you to be a real-time, know-it-all, agile enterprise. So as we move from the technology side, we get into the methodology. And this is the methodology not as in, Isaac was talking about DevOps and Agile. Those may certainly be very much part of what you're going to do. But how do we figure out what's right for our organization? How do we create a culture that works in a consistent manner to come up with ideas, to experiment with those ideas, to work properly and find the right things to do in our organization? To me, it's design thinking. Design thinking is a design methodology that provides a solution-based approach to solving problems. It's extremely useful in tackling complex problems that are ill-defined or unknown, by understanding the human needs involved, by reframing the problem in human-centric ways, and by creating many ideas in brainstorming sessions, and by adopting a hands-on approach in prototyping and testing. Anybody here use design thinking in their organizations? So a couple hands up. You probably all do use parts of it without really thinking about it in design as design thinking, and that's kind of where I found that, and I learned more about it in that I was doing things with it in my organization without actually calling it design thinking, or at least components of it. And I'm going to talk to you about the 7 mindsets of design thinking. But Danica Patrick's NASCAR team was using this. There's parts to radical collaboration. They all understood what they were doing. There was something we were going to refer to as bias towards action. They were using components or concepts of design thinking in order to manage in real time everything that was going on with that car to perform at optimal performance for their race car. So let's talk about what this design thinking stuff is. There are 7 mindsets to it. And this is why I said you're going to find that some of these 7 you probably are doing in your organization today. To truly do this in its most optimal way, you really need to be able to hit on all 7. The first is show, don't tell. Communicate your vision in an impactful and meaningful way by creating experiences, using illustrative visuals, and telling good stories. This is critically important, especially the part about telling good stories. I find when I've not done a very good job with that, my teams have gone off and maybe half headed down one road and half headed down another road, and we got something very different than what the vision had been originally. So I like to find examples that I can tell of stories to get people to really understand what they want here, what we're doing, creating the right experience, so that we get aligned to what I refer to as the why. And a great example I use with my teams, and you can steal this, and I'll use it with all of you here now, is, we're all here down in Florida, getting to know each other. We're going to get to know each other over the course of the event here, and probably a few drinks. So that's like the 3rd time you've heard about the drinks. So yes, lots of alcohol tends to happen here in a very good way. But as we're getting to talk and chat, we become friends. We decide, you know what? Hey, Ken, you're from Houston. I'd love to go see Houston. And I'm like, I've got to get back to Houston quickly because I've got family and things I've got to do. And as we're talking, and maybe Rick and I are sitting at the bar having a chat about this. He's from Houston as well. And a couple other folks said, well, I'd love to go visit Houston. I've never been there. And Ashish is out here somewhere. He's from Houston as well, and says, Ken, I'd like to get home quickly as well. I've got my kids I want to go see. And Phil says, you know what, Ken, I heard you got really good golf over there. So can I get over to Houston with you as well? It's like, perfect. Why don't we all go on a little road trip from here to there? I'll get the car. And Rick, you're responsible for getting the food and all our provisions we need for our road trip. And Ashish and Phil, you guys are going to go figure out the best route to get there. How do we want to travel? So when our event here is all over and said and done, we've had a great 2 days, we're all going to jump in the car and go. So we're sitting here the next day, getting ready to go, and I got the car all ready, and Rick's got all sorts of food and chips and beef jerky and drinks and some music. We're ready to go. Ashish and Phil come in, and they have these really long faces. They're not looking too happy. And I said, what's wrong? And they're like, well, we can't agree how to get there. Phil wants to go on I-10 and just drive straight across really quick. She wants to get home too, but he goes, I've never driven this before, and I'd like to stop off at a few places and maybe see that big bowl of yarn or the giant frying pan, all those little roadside attractions you might see. He wants to take a slower route to get there. And what we realized is that we were all actually aligned on the what. We all wanted to get to Houston for one reason. We weren't aligned on the why. Some wanted to go fast, some wanted to just enjoy the journey. That's the key, is telling a great story to get everybody aligned to the same vision. And that's where the show, don't tell is. I tell the road trip story all the time. I like to pull different people in and out depending on where we are. So tell a great story. Make sure people are aligned to what it is, and show them what we can do, as opposed to just telling them what it is and hoping we all end up in the same place. The next is focus on human values. Empathy for the people you are designing for, and feedback from these users is fundamental to good design. And part of this, as IT professionals, we can't go off in the closet and build something and bring it out and go, ta-da, and hope it's right. We need to understand the people. We need to understand their needs. We need to gain that feedback quickly. And that's a critically important part as we think about this, especially if we're going to create a real-time know-it-all Agile enterprise. We've got a lot of things that have to go on in there, creating for our different departments and what we're going to do and how we're leveraging all this technology that we've got to integrate. We've got to work with them. It cannot be an IT-only type of engagement. The third is craft clarity. Produce a coherent vision out of messy problems. Frame it in a way to inspire others and fuel ideation. And again, this is kind of like the alignment to the why of show, don't tell. We need to tell good stories. We need to have a very clear vision of what it is we're doing in effort to get us to move forward. Another way I like to tell this one is I've had a group and we go, okay, we need to build a car because we've got to get from point A to point B. And the groups go off and they're ready because they know we've got to get from point A to point B. That was as much of the vision of the problem we said, and we knew the solution was a car. And one group, part of it comes back and they've got everything going and they've built the plans for this beautiful Ferrari that we're going to get there really quickly with. And the other group has built a Toyota Camry. And while it will get us from point A to point B, it's not going to be as fun as the Ferrari. What was the problem here is we didn't craft the clarity. We said we need to get from A to B. We didn't say we needed to go fast or slow. We didn't say if we only needed a two-seater or if I needed to have a 7-seat vehicle or whatever else it may be. The point is we've got to create clarity and when we're explaining that vision to make sure that everybody walks away with the same picture in their head and not some thinking a Ferrari and some thinking a Camry. Both may get the job done a little differently, but we've got to understand what it is we need. It's critical we craft with clarity. We need to embrace experimentation. Prototyping is not simply a way to validate your idea. It's an integral part of the innovation process. We build to think and learn. Too many times we don't do this in our organization, particularly in IT. We don't think we have enough time. We've got to go quick, and we only have limited resources. How do I experiment with this? We're supposed to know it all already. We have to embrace the experimentation. We have to create a process for doing that. One of the ways I like to do it, because again, we don't always have the time within the project, so how can I get ahead of it? I created something with my teams called an innovation sandbox. Where they could bring ideas to the table to experiment and work to think and learn of things that we thought we're going to use. And I would fund these initiatives. They'd have to help build a business case of where they thought these were going. And I would set aside some of my budget to use for this experimentation. So it's very important you find a way that works right for your organization to enable it, but you've got to embrace that experimentation. Number 5 is be mindful of process. Know where you are in the design process, what methods to use at that stage, and what your goals are. The goals are really, really critical here of the overall process and making sure we know where we're going. So don't just blow process off and think we can kind of go by the seat of our pants. We really have got to have a good method here and understand where we are as we move through the design phase. 6 is a bias towards action. Design thinking is really a misnomer. It's more about doing than thinking. Bias towards doing and making overthinking and meeting. I have a typo there, I'm sorry. What we want to do here is really take action. Don't do the analysis paralysis, which so many of our organizations have a tendency to do. Partially because we're not sure what the right answer is. Partly because we're afraid to stick our neck out there and say this is the idea and we want to move forward and make a decision. We need to act. We can't just sit there and design forever and think forever and do the analysis. We actually have to move forward. So have a bias towards action. And the 7th part of the mindset is radical collaboration. Bringing together innovators in varied backgrounds and viewpoints, enabling breakthrough insights and solutions to emerge from the diversity. This, if you could do nothing else but one point of the 7 things related to design thinking, do radical collaboration. Get your teams working together. Bring people from all different groups together. Isaac started to make some comments about within the DevOps frame and stuff he was talking about, the Agile little wheel he had up there, about people from different groups being part of the process, not just IT. And that's what all of this is. Even within IT, being able to radically collaborate. Danica Patrick's NASCAR crew team was radically collaborating in real time. So should we as organizations. And if we did nothing else but that, we would be in a better position than where we are today. And too often, we don't radically collaborate. Too often, we don't bring together innovators with varied backgrounds and viewpoints. We kind of stick in our silos because that's more comfortable for us, as opposed to bringing different and diverse groups together to come up with the right solutions. And that may be within your companies. That may even be within your partners, that partner community that provides different services and products to you. That can be with your suppliers, your customers, bringing everybody together to determine what's right for your organization to create this environment of radical collaboration. So those are the 7 mindsets of design thinking, and we could go on for days talking about the details of design thinking, but those 7 hopefully give you an idea for it and start to give you a framework for where you can go with your organization. The other part that I said, we needed to leverage technology, we needed the methodology design thinking, we need great change leadership. Without great change leadership, all that other stuff, like you can put all the great technology that's out there in place, you can use design thinking perfectly to a T, you will fail. Change leadership may be more important than all the rest of it, because so much is going on in our organizations so quickly that we've got to have great change leadership in order to be successful. We've got to recognize that change is not an end user problem. It is our problem as IT and executive leaders. It is our responsibility to activate our organizations for change. Because change is really hard, even when you know it's coming. It can still take your breath away. Anyone ever go to Disney? Probably, down the road, I guess, from here. Anyone go to the, what's it called now? It's changed its name. I think it's Hollywood Studios now. And they've got it's not that new anymore, but the Aerosmith rock and roller coaster. Anyone ever go on it? Yeah, a few? So I got to go there. It was probably the first year that it was open, my son and I, so I don't know if he was 13 at the time. And we're getting this long line to go on the roller coaster. And we're standing there, and we're in line talking to a bunch of people, some of whom have been on the roller coaster already, and they're telling us stories about what it's like. And as we're going through, there's that chain link fence, and you can kind of see in and see what's going on. You see and start hearing music from Aerosmith, and you're starting to get excited when the anticipation is building as you're getting ready to go, and you see the roller coaster car, which is designed to be like this white stretch limo, pulls in. All the people are getting out of the car from just riding it, all excited. Maybe some are a little wobbly because they weren't ready to handle what the roller coaster was about to do. But you're building anticipation, but you're starting to see what this is going to be like. You're starting to get ready for this experience you're about to have. So finally, my son and I have weaved our way up to that. Our turn's next. The roller coaster car pulls up, and we get lucky enough to be in the front seats. So we get in, we're getting ready to go, and all of a sudden the countdown starts. 3, 2, 1. It's Steven Tyler counting down, yells and screams, and you get shot off at 60 miles an hour into a tunnel of pitch black. This Aerosmith music starts blasting, light starts flashing, which happens to be the pictures they're taking of your screaming face as you're going through, and you get whirled around, whizzing through in the dark with all the Aerosmith music and everything playing, and you finally finish and you come to a screeching halt. And we get out of the car and we start to walk out, and I said to my son, "How was it?" He goes, "Wow, Dad, that took my breath away." Even though he knew all about the ride, he had heard about it from people out front, he saw things happening about it. He had this expectation of what it was going to be like. He went through that experience, and it still took his breath away. That's what happens with change in our organization. We tell everybody about it. We've sent tons of memos. We printed big fancy flyers and signs and gotten everybody ready. And they know it's coming, but still it ends up taking their breath away. There's still something dramatic about it that we've got to deal with. And that's why change leadership is so important, that we're able to provide and manage that fact that it's still going to take our breath away. We're still going to be stunned by what we experience, no matter how well prepared we think we are. And that's, again, the importance of change leadership. So I can't emphasize enough what we need to do in that aspect. So there we go. There's this high school in Houston. It's called the Energy Institute High School. My son, who went on the roller coaster, he goes to this school. They've got a really cool robotics team. Anyone heard of FIRST before? Let me do FRC, First Robotics Challenge, the big robots, the kind I refer to as the varsity robots. This robot team of high school kids, of our future workforce, our future leaders, actually use design thinking and have a real-time, know-it-all, agile robotics team. These kids actually are trained in the concepts in school, at least as part of their robotics team. And they've used this to build the robots you see down the lower left and up and top. They've learned how to radically collaborate. They understand and created this real-time environment for an order. They have a bias towards action because from the time they find out what the competition is supposed to be about, they have 6 weeks to design, build, test, and prepare their robot before they have to bag it before they go to their first competition. And once they reach bagging day, they have to certify and show that they bagged it. They have to stop touching the robot. They could build a prototype, second, a test machine that they'll use to practice with leading up to it. But the robot that will be on that field is bagged and they can't touch it anymore. So they have a very short window. So they've got to be really, really good at what they do. And they've decided that the concepts of design thinking, leveraging really cool technology, and having great change leadership were going to enable them to do what our organizations should be doing. It's worked so well for them. They've had a robot team for 4 years, and they finished second in the world 2 years ago, of a group of kids who were figuring this out, doing what our organizations should be able to do. And I believe if these high school kids can create an environment to create products, understand what that product needs to do, work as a team, have great insights in their build process, but even in competition day, they have scout teams. They're out there analyzing their competition, collecting data, making decisions, because the teams get partnered up. There's 6 teams on the field at one time. They work in alliances of 3. So they've got to understand their competition. They've got to understand their partners in order to know what that strategy needs to be. And they've got to do this in real time. It wasn't like they had weeks to practice with that team. They're going through and getting assigned to different teams, different alliances as the competition goes on in this kind of round robin. And they've got to figure out each other's strengths and weaknesses. Just like we have to figure out what are our company's strengths and weaknesses? What are our competitors' strengths and weaknesses? Where's the market taking us today? What do we need to do in real time to remain competitive, to get an advantage over our competitors, to do what's right for our business? And this high school kids are able to do it. And I like using them as a model for my organizations because, again, if a bunch of 14 to 17-year-olds can do it, why can't all of us? And the reason we struggle is we're set in that old guard kind of way. Part of my original definition of what it means to be a real-time, agile, know-it-all enterprise, we're stuck because we've been doing this for so long. We're resistant to change. We're stuck in our old ways. We're not ready for the speed. These kids aren't afraid of technology. These kids aren't afraid of change. They aren't afraid of new ideas because they don't know anything different. We've got to embrace that same idea in our organizations if we're going to create that real-time, know-it-all, agile enterprise. So some key takeaways, I think, from today. I think the definition of a real-time, know-it-all, agile enterprise is important for all of us to think about and how that applies to our companies. It's critical that our organizations become one. Without it, I think we're going to find ourselves on the side of being dramatically disrupted. There's a statistic out there that of the 89% of the original Fortune 500 companies as of 1955 are no longer in existence as of 2014. You don't want to be one of those companies. We need to disrupt our organizations. We need to drive our companies forward. You need to leverage technology. That's the data, the smart machines, the AI, the IoT. We need to utilize design thinking techniques, and change leadership must be a core competency. Again, if we take anything away from here today, it's really start to think about what that real-time, know-it-all, agile enterprise means for us, and what we can do to create that in our organizations. So it is about business in the fast lane. I think we're in an era where companies live and die by the decisions they make. I think it's an opportunity for us as IT executives to architect the real-time nodal enterprise, to capture the invisible, the data, to predict the unknowable, the AI, and digitize the physical, the IoT. I think we must leverage proven, repeatable processes and methodologies. We cannot be successful just by flying by the seat of our pants. I think the digital transformation or digitizing our business is where we need to go. I believe technology is liberating all of us to innovate new forms of value and competitive advantage, and it's enabling us to support our business in new ways, to support our business in the fast lane. I'm willing to bet none of your, rest of you went back to your organization and were able to come back and talk to your C-suite and say, hey, we're going to be able to go faster. We've got ways that we're going to go, that they complain and say, no, slow down. No, they're going to encourage the speed. Speed is where it's at for the organizations today. We've got to do everything we're doing in a faster way. So with that, I've got a few minutes left if there's some questions. Otherwise, I'll be hanging out here for these 2 days so we can chat over a beer or dinner or somewhere else at any of the times. And I'm happy to share my slides with anybody. I've noticed a couple people taking pictures, so happy to get that to you. Just give me a business card sometime today or tomorrow, and I will get that to you. So are there any questions that I can answer? It's hard with the lights to see everybody. So no? All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to engaging with you the rest of the event.